Welcome back to Time with God series, Joyce Meyer's Everyday Life Bible Journey for busy moms, busy people. I'm WendyMichelle Thompson, and we are picking back up today in Leviticus 11. And I don't know if you remember or not, but I told you to read ahead and read this chapter. So if you haven't, make sure you go over it again, because our first little Bible study is going to come from this. Starting with Leviticus 11. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Say to the Israelites, these are the animals which you may eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatever puts the hoof and is cloven-footed and chews the cud, any of these animals you may eat. Nevertheless, you shall not eat of those that chew the cud or divide the hoof. The camel, because it chews the cud, but does not divide the hoof, it is unclean to you." Verse 5. And the coney or rock badger, because it chews the cud, but does not divide the hoof, it is unclean to you. And the hare, because it chews the cud, but does not divide the hoof, it is unclean to you. And the swine, because it divides the hoof, and it's cloven-footed, but does not chew the cud, it is unclean to you. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. These you may eat of all that are in the waters, whatever has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, these you may eat. Verse 10. But all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all the creeping things in the waters, and of all the living creatures which are in the waters, they are to be considered an abomination and abhorrence to you. They shall continue to be an abomination to you. You shall not eat of their flesh, but you shall detest their carcasses. Everything in the waters that has not fins or scales shall be abhorrent and detestable to you. These you shall have an abomination among the birds. They shall not be eaten, for they are detestable: the eagle, the ostrich, and the osprey, the kite, the whole species of falcon. Verse 15. Every kind of raven, the ostrich, the nighthawk, the seagull, every species of hawk, the owl, the cormorant, the ibis, the swan, the pelican, the vulture, the stork, all kinds of heron, the hoop owl, and the bat. Verse 20. All winged insects that go upon all fours are to be an abomination to you. Yet of all winged insects that go upon all fours, you may eat those which have legs above their feet, with which to leap on to the ground. Of these you may eat the whole species of locust, of bald locust, of cricket, and of grasshoppers. But all other winged insects which have 4 feet shall be detestable to you. And by contact with these you shall become unclean. Whoever touches the carcass of them shall be unclean until evening. Verse 25. And whoever carries any part of their carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. Every beast which parts the hoof, but is not cloven-footed, or does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Everyone who touches them shall be unclean. And all that go on their paws, among all kinds of four-footed beasts, are unclean to you. Whoever touches their carcass shall be unclean until the evening. And he who carries their carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean to you. These also are unclean to you among the creeping things that multiply greatly and creep upon the ground, the weasel, the mouse, any kind of great lizard. Verse 30. The gecko, the land crocodile, the lizard, the sand lizard, and the chameleon. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Whoever touches them when they are dead shall be unclean until evening. And upon whatever they may fall when they are dead, it shall be unclean, whether as an article of wood or clothing or skin, bottle or sack, any vessel in which work is done, it must be put in water, and it shall be unclean until the evening. So it shall be cleansed. And every earthen vessel into which any of these creeping things falls, whatever may be in it, shall be unclean, and you shall break the vessel. Of all the food in one of these unclean vessels, which may be eaten, that on which such water comes shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunk from every such vessel shall be unclean. Verse 35. And everything upon which any part of their carcass falls shall be unclean, whether an oven or pan with a lid, or hearth for pots, it shall be broken in pieces. They are unclean, and shall be unclean to you. Yet a spring or a cistern or reservoir of water shall be clean, but whoever touches their carcass shall be unclean. If a part of their carcass falls on seed which is to be sown, it shall be clean. But if any water be put on the seed, and any part of their carcass falls on it, it shall be unclean to you. If any animal of which you may eat dies unslaughtered, he who touches its carcass shall be unclean until the evening. Verse 40. And he who eats of its carcass ignorantly shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. He also who carries its carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. And everything that creeps on the ground and multiplies in swarms shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatever goes on its belly and whatever goes on all fours, or whatever has more than 4 feet, among all things that creep on the ground and swarm, you shall not eat, for they are detestable. Pardon me. Gotta get comfy. You shall not make yourselves loathsome and abominable by eating any swarming thing that multiplies by swarms, neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that you should be defiled by them. For I am the Lord your God, so consecrate yourselves and be holy. For I am holy. Neither defile yourselves with any manner of thing that multiplies in large numbers or swarms. Verse 45. For I am the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. Therefore you shall be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the beast, and of the bird, and of every living creature that moves in the waters, and creeps on the earth, and multiplies in large numbers, to make a difference, a distinction between the unclean and the clean, and between the animal that may be eaten and the animal that may not be eaten. That concludes Leviticus chapter 11. as you can tell, God has a lot to say about what we can eat and not eat. He cares very much about what we put in our bodies. And that's where we will begin with our short Bible study. I hope you are ready for it. I did put in the description that as long as I videoed it with my webcam on my computer, that even though I don't have so many subscribers yet, that I can do a live Bible study on a webcam. Why there's a difference upon recording it with a camera or a phone, you can't. Who's to know? It's YouTube's rules, but I was very surprised to see. So anyone that wants to have a live Bible study, and we can come up with a time that is agreeable, it would be great to have it live and get to see each one and everyone talk and get to know one another. Let me know. It would be great. It may be too early for this time around, but let me know what you think about the following ones. It may not be the same day each week because our schedules vary each week. I know with my husband, like today, he has today off, and he'll be helping me film some more planks this evening. So, I mean, we are quite busy when he has a day off, and that changes week to week on when he has days off. But give me an idea if you guys are interested in doing this. If not, that is okay. Just please tell me one way or the other. God bless you today and all your tomorrows.